everyone. I'd just like to welcome everyone to our fireside chat, non-traditional partners, the key to diversifying your affiliate program. I'm Lori Cutts. I manage agency partnerships here at Everflow. I wanted to, I'm excited to talk today about and get into the nitty-gritty of diversifying your affiliate partnerships. I'd also like to welcome and introduce you to Lacey Thompson, our guest today. She is the OG affiliate industry veteran, founder of LT Partners, a leading affiliate marketing agency, and she recently became the chief growth officer at New Engine, which is a growth-oriented performance marketing firm. Today, Lacey and I are going to explore why it's important to add new partners to your affiliate program. We're going to talk about who some of these newer non-traditional partners are in the space, walk through some tactics for finding and recruiting these partners, and then finish up by sharing how you can measure the success of these partners. And before we get started, I just wanted to mention a few housekeeping items. We're going to be sharing the recording on our website and on our social channels. If you have questions, you can submit them through the Q&A tab anytime throughout this fireside chat, and we'll plan to circle back to them at the end. So just to kick things off, Lacey, it would be great if you could introduce yourself, talk a little bit about what LT Partners does, how you got your start in the industry, what led you to start up LT Partners, and then maybe finish it up by talking a little bit about what you're most focused on right now.
Cool. Yeah, I'm Lacey. I'm sharing my screen. I hope that's showing properly for everyone. It's the first time I've used this platform to do this. So does it look good, Lori?
Yeah, it looks good to me.
Okay,
Feel
perfect.
free to mention it in the chat if people can't see it, but it looks good.
Awesome. So I'm Lacey. Like Lori said, I actually started my career brand side first. So I was running affiliate programs and other digital marketing channels in-house. After that, I went to another agency for about 3 years before I founded LT Partners in 2018. So LT Partners has been in the affiliate agency business for a little over 5 years. As you said, Lori, we were acquired by New Engine June 1st of this year. We're super, super excited. We've always had a very full funnel approach to how we think about partnerships. And there's just a ton of alignment with the New Engine family about how they think about measurement and attribution and engaging across the full funnel, across all the different types of marketing mechanisms that we have at our disposal. So it's been a really great transition over to working together with their team. Every time I join these types of webinars, I always want to know like a little bit more about who the person is outside of just what they do at work. So I threw a few things on here, just passions of mine to let people know who I am as a person, not just as the founder of LT Partners and the chief growth officer of New Engine, but I love doing renovations, spend my weekends at Home Depot very frequently. In the winters, I love skiing. In the summers, I love boating, love going to concerts. I'm obsessed with olives as a food group. I have a hashtag on Instagram about martinis as well. So, and I'm just always very focused on like living in the moment and focusing on the now. So that's just a little bit more about me as a person.
Thanks, Lacey. I love hearing about the home renovation interest. I'll call you when I have to do my next home renovation. It's always something that I struggle with, picking out all the right things, but there's just so many options. But also great to hear how you got I always love hearing how you got your start in the industry. And so inspiring to hear about, how you, founded LT Partners, especially as we don't have a lot of women founders typically. So great to hear about that as well. So yeah, I thought we could just start things out and would love to hear you just talk about some of the latest trends that you're seeing with partner and publisher development, and have you kind of talk through, what some of those insights that you have on that.
Yeah, I actually threw together this slide to speak more just like big picture, high level about what we're seeing in the industry as a whole. And I gathered this data from a couple of different sources, primarily the data that the PMA puts out and the MarTech record. So a lot of these numbers that are shown at the top are really just indicative of the fact that brands are definitely investing into partnerships as a channel. And I think we've shifted from calling it affiliate marketing to calling it partnership marketing. I think it's really just an indication that it's a much more broad ecosystem of the types of partners that we can bring into the model of paying for performance. So definitely seeing really good indicators of this channel's health and investment that people are putting into it. What we're seeing as far as like the innovative thoughts around this channel and how it can work is that affiliate is unique because it sits in this ecosystem where there's so many things that touch other channels. There's so many specific examples of how affiliate can interact with search and SEO. But obviously a big part of where we're seeing the overlap in the last 5 years, really since I started LT Partners, is in the content and PR space. And so that's been really fun to be a part of. And I think part of the strategy that's been winning for brands in this space is really breaking down those silos and working cross-functionally with those different teams or even different agencies that you might work with to collaborate and work together in a unified manner. We've really seen that bring the most value to brands when you can do that. There's also been a lot of really cool, innovative technologies that have come into the landscape and unique strategies. We're seeing VC and PE money come into our industry in the agency space as well as in the publisher space. So that's really brought a lot of new capabilities to our fingertips and given us more opportunities to expand outside of the bottom of the funnel when we're thinking about the different types of partners that we can potentially work with. I mentioned content, and I call it out on this slide because it's a core area that I think everybody's really focused on. And there's a lot of different like terminology that's been thrown around these days, performance PR being one of them. And so we'll speak a little bit to that. And then just evolving the attribution is the final piece that I think is really exciting for what we have going on today. This channel has always been a last click attributed channel. It's led to, I think, what a lot of people have as a negative perception of the channel, where there's a lot of partners that have designed their experience to get that last click credit so that they can earn the commission. And it's not necessarily always bringing the most value to brands. So in order to really get away from that, we have to think about other ways to compensate partners that make sense for where they live within the customer journey.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see all the investment in the affiliate marketing space, as well as it, continue to build momentum with other marketing areas, the breaking down of silos, and then also the evolved attribution so that, affiliate is given the recognition for, all the momentum that's driving for growth for a lot of brands. So there's a lot of sort of innovation when it comes to partnerships in the affiliate space. I'd love to hear you talk through, some of the newer, some types of the newer affiliate partners that are in the space. I know that like video has been really growing fast. I read some stats somewhere that about 72% of people would rather use a video to learn about a product or service. TikTok is obviously coming to the forefront for affiliate. So what are some of these new types of affiliate partners that you're seeing come to the forefront this year?
Yeah, so I listed a few here, and you're just so right, Lori. I actually bought this jacket recently that has these straps in it that you can like roll it into like a backpack so you can carry it instead of having to like hold it in your arm. And I was taking the tag off of it, and the tag has the instructions, like these little drawings of how to do it. And I literally was like, I'm just going to throw this away and like find a YouTube video on this because it's so much easier to actually solve for things and it's more efficient. And that's what everybody wants in their life is like, let's make it easy. So, but these are just some examples. There's obviously like a lot more out there in the space of some unique models that are really prevalent, I think, and at the forefront of the innovation right now. You mentioned video. We're doing a lot of stuff with some performance TV partners on a CPA basis. It's really interesting from a data and analytics standpoint to look at those partners and see how they interact with other channels along that customer journey. Linkbee is a partner that allows us to get content inclusions on a CPC basis. Google's getting into this space with many of their platforms, Pay, YouTube, Maps, being able to target if somebody's like on Google Maps looking for a specific store, and for you to be able to put a message in front of them in that moment is really interesting. TikTok's getting into the space. I think if anybody's seen any of the articles in the last few weeks, it'll be interesting to see how that evolves. They've officially launched shops, but I think there's a lot of uncertainty about exactly how to get into that space at the moment. And there's, I think, more to be solved for on their end to get those details in front of brands in a more powerful way. But it is cool that like such a huge platform is adopting this model for a big part of their business, and they're investing into it. And then there's a bunch of other ones that I've put here. I won't go into every single one, but Bonsai, Bolt, Super Affiliate, just like engaging with people in content and having them be able to make purchases instead of like leaving that content is really interesting. And B2B partnerships, I think, are a space where I'd like to see more of, to be honest. I think that there's ways that you can engage with customers that are purchasing from another brand outside of just digitally, even doing things like if one brand ships a product out to their customers and they have an insert in there that has a QR code for another brand and that redirects through an affiliate tracking link. Like, I think there's more on an ongoing basis that can drive more value in that space. And I'm excited to see that in the future.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that too. I feel like B2P partnerships are kind of the next frontier for affiliate marketing. And it's, it definitely seems like B2B companies are kind of evolving, the types of partners that they'll work with. Some of the other interesting partners that we've seen in the space are, you have shopping cart abandonment partners like Upsell It, trademark bidding partners that can really expand, a brand's reach through paid search and kind of expand their budget as well. And then, podcasts, like iHeartMedia, that they can really help round out a program. And then one of the ones I know that you've kind of brought up before is the buy now, pay later partners, which seems to be a really fast growing category these days. What are some of the top strategies you have for working with these partners? And what are some ways that brands can get started with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of brands are familiar with these types of publishers from a payment integration standpoint. So a lot of times it's more just an education process of how do they work within the affiliate space. And I think a lot of people brands feel like they need to have them as an integrated payment type on their website in order to engage with them on an affiliate basis, but that's actually not the case. And so all of these buy now, pay later platforms have marketplaces where even if you're not signed up, you can go and see different brands within different categories. And it's a great kind of discovery platform. One of the things that I always think is really important for brands to understand is the data outside of how impactful they can be from a revenue standpoint. We've seen these types of partners be definitely in the top 10 for brands on some cases, definitely in the top 20 for a lot. So they're meaningful from a revenue standpoint. But when we're thinking about incrementality, we also want to look at, how much new traffic are they driving? How are they filling the funnel so that we can work down and get them to convert, potentially through other partners, but also potentially through other channels. We see that happen quite a bit. So what we've done here is just aggregated some data across multiple brands that work with each of these partners. And it's really fascinating because you see in general very high rates of new traffic. So these platforms are introducing brands to new audiences who haven't been on those websites before, which we generally lean toward as a very high indicator of incrementality. And then they have strong new customer rates as well. But they're definitely better at introducing the audiences to the brands than necessarily converting the new customers. And my speculation is because when somebody makes a purchase for the first time with a new brand, they want to make sure that they're getting the best deals. So they're maybe clicking on a coupon site and making sure that they're confident to make that purchase rather than just clicking through from one of these platforms and then make a purchase right away.
Yeah, no, these are really really great metrics from all of the buy now pay later partners. Are there different strategies that you'd recommend for kind of recruiting and activating these partners, or is there anything different that you would do when you kind of approach them?
No, I mean, I think that they are relatively straightforward to work with. If you understand how they work and what their capabilities are, doing placements with them to get in front of their audience more obviously is a great option. But just understanding like who their audiences are and how that aligns with your brand is really helpful in determining the value that they can bring to the table.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so it sounds like there's a lot of new and exciting partners, and as well, to combine with sort of the traditional affiliate partners. But I think one of the top questions that are on a lot of marketers' mind is, a lot of times, a handful of affiliate partners are really driving most of the traffic and conversion. So why is it important to diversify and explore new partnerships, as you kind of look to grow your partnership program?
Well, I think it's interesting because I would say maybe 90% of the time when we do an audit and we look at an existing program, we're seeing a heavy reliance on the top 3 to 5 partners. So this chart just kind of speaks to that. If you have 60% of your program being driven by 3 to 5 partners, there's obviously risk for you. If something changes with those partners, if they decide that you have to increase your CPA in order to keep working with them, then you have a decision as to whether you want to do that or not. If they lose organic search results for their key terms that drive a lot of their traffic volume, then you're going to suffer as well. So I think the biggest thing is definitely the risk reduction. You don't want all your eggs in one basket is kind of the cliche term. But then I think reach is a big part too. You want to be able to find new audiences across different platforms, and not everybody goes to those top 3 to 5 websites. So if you're going to be able to tap into them when they're potentially in market for your specific product or brand, you need to be able to extend far beyond just 3 to 5 websites.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Diversification really at its core is about extending your brand, building more awareness, and reaching new audiences. And I think it's important for every brand that's really looking to drive growth. And kind of as marketers explore diversifying their partnerships and kind of adding new partners to their mix, what would you say are some of the top challenges that they face, as they look to expand their partnerships?
Yeah, I mean, I just put this very simple slide together to answer this question because I think it is all about bringing the right data to the table, expanding beyond just the traditional KPIs, building the value for the partner as well as to why it's meaningful for them to engage with you is a challenge sometimes. And then just a lack of immediacy, either sometimes on the brand side where they don't have a sense of urgency about it, but then also sometimes on the publisher side, like publishers don't always have the most resources on their team. And so bandwidth is a challenge to getting started. We've been told by some of the buy now, pay later websites, especially because they are so attractive and everybody's excited to work with them, that they just don't have the human power to engage with every brand and onboard them right now. So, it's important to get in front of them sooner than later so that if there's going to be a delay on their part, you're in the queue first.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It sounds like really there's like no one size fits all approach when it comes to recruiting new partners. And it's important that you communicate with your partners regularly so they understand your KPIs. And this is where, someone like an LT Partners or an agency can really help you establish strategies for activating and maintaining these affiliate partnerships. So next, I think it's important to show, sort of some real life examples of brands that have diversified with their partnerships and how they have been successful by doing this. And I know you had an example that you had put together to
Yeah.
kind of show this, show a brand that really had success when they added new partners.
Yeah, I just always find that when I watch someone speak on these topics, I want real tangible results to be shared. I want to know, like, how does this really look when it's done right? Because I think there's a tendency in our industry to talk a lot about content and to talk about influencers, but it's very rare that I've actually looked at real data that is compelling and makes the case for investing into it for the long term. And so I wanted to share a brand that we've been working with for almost 2 years now. They don't actually work with coupon sites. They're an elevated brand and they just don't want to. So that's kind of been the directive. And they don't go on sale that often. So they have one sale over Memorial Day weekend. And then they have some Black Friday, Cyber Monday opportunities as well, but that's pretty much it. So our goal with the Memorial Day sale was to get as many features and content articles for them as possible, with the primary messaging being about, the products, the quality, but then also saying, oh, and by the way, this is on sale right now, and build a sense of urgency about making a purchase over the course of that sale timeframe. So the first year we did that, we were able to secure 24 dedicated articles. There were also like a lot of roundups that were like best Memorial Day sales this year. So there were 85 total articles that we got them into for this 5-day sale period. What's really awesome is 40% of the revenue that within the affiliate program was driven by these content articles, and it was 80% above their revenue goal. So we really were able to show in that first year that this can be successful and it can be meaningful for their business from a performance standpoint. So going into this year for the sale, we were able to get 33% more dedicated articles, 87% more total articles, and increase the share of revenue that was driven by these content partners even more. And this really like goes to show the fact that this is not a flip of a switch tactic or strategy that you can build into your program. It's something that you really need to invest into for the long term. And we've continually seen, with that approach, more content articles secured every single month and more revenue driven by those content articles. And we look at it over a very long period of time, like a 1, 2, 3 year time frame, to understand the total effect that is being made.
Yeah, these are really some incredible results for this brand. Can you share whether this was accomplished through paid placements or CPA? Or what tactics you use to kind of engage these content partners?
Yeah, none of these articles were paid for on a flat fee basis. They're all on a CPA basis. The one thing that is really important to keep in mind is that the way that we pay our partners and the way that we give them credit for the conversions is such that they're actually earning the credit when they drive all this amazing new traffic that ultimately converts. I think if you're running your program strictly on a last click basis and you have a full funnel of partners in the program, you'll start to to wonder why content isn't performing. And it's because the credit is just often going elsewhere. And so it's really an educational process for us to have the conversations with our partners that drive all that great new traffic, that we're actually going to be giving them credit. We're going to be rewarding them. They're going to see that it will benefit them from a revenue standpoint. And that's why I think in the next year after the first time we did this, we were able to get so much more pickup, is because they actually saw that they made good money the first time around.
That makes a lot of sense. And there's just definitely a lot more focus on top of funnel partners. And one of the ones we hear about a lot is influencers, which seems to have a tremendous amount of momentum, especially when it comes to partnership and affiliate marketing. What value do you think the influencers bring to an overall affiliate strategy? And as you look to partner with influencers, what strategies would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, that's a loaded question. We could have a whole webinar on that alone, probably.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, again, influencers are another area of our industry where there's overlap. There's oftentimes when we speak with brands, they have a separate team on the brand side that engages with influencers. And so really building a cohesive strategy cross-functionally, I think, is the way to be successful. We work really closely with our clients' brand teams or any other agencies that they might use to do influencer work. What I always recommend is that keeping all of your partners in the same ecosystem is really important, because if you're using, another platform to track influencers, that's totally fine to do, but you also need to be cognizant of where an influencer might be driving volume and where it also might be getting credited to an affiliate partner if you're not duplicating or have visibility into those conversions across both platforms. There's certainly ways to solve for that, and we've done that quite a bit. But for the most part, we like to have it all in the same place. What we have seen as far as the results go is that influencers can actually have a very significant impact on revenue for programs. The first data point of 13% of total affiliate revenue is for kind of a medium-sized clothing brand that we support, where influencers have been an ongoing and large part of our engagement. It started just with one campaign around a specific event that they do once a year that's kind of unique. And because of the success that we had there, we've just continued to invest into that work. And it's been mostly with direct influencers for that brand. The second data point of 19% for a large retail brand that we work with is where we've done a lot of work with both influencers directly and the platforms that are out there. And I do think that having an approach across both is the most valuable, how you're going to be able to optimize to the fullest potential, because platforms like LTK and Magic Links, and there's many more names to throw out there now these days, they have other marketing mechanisms that they put in place to drive results. And so, LTK has their own shopping app, and people go there because they want to buy products that influencers are excited about and hyping. And so I don't have to follow a specific influencer and see their post in order to find their content. I can find it on this shopping app and then purchase from there. And I know conversations that is a significant portion of the revenue that is driven by their influencers. So I think I would say explore both. There's pros and cons of both. I've had lots of conversations about the pros and cons of both, but I think in order to tap into this part of the business and get the most out of it, I recommend a dual approach there. And then I always like to throw in data points that show the even greater impact, because those numbers are like strictly how we measure performance and the attributed revenue. But when you look at other attribution models, influencers are a space where we see even more first click attributed revenue to influencers than we do on a last click basis. And I think that's just a testament to the additional value and the incremental value that they're able to drive for brands. So it's important to have that context when you think about how much do you want to compensate them? How much effort are you going to put toward this? And then there's another large clothing brand that we support with a lot of influencer work where 8% of their entire traffic for their entire website. So this is not just within the affiliate space, but 8% of all of the new traffic that's driven for their website is driven by influencers. And I just think that's incredibly powerful and speaks to being able to work with partners in this industry that can deliver full funnel objectives.
Yeah, I mean, influencers do an amazing job of kind of introducing new customers or new consumers to the brand. And I think a lot of brands are just seeing quite a bit of momentum, particularly through affiliate channels, both with influencer networks and with individual influencers, really kind of moving the needle with their affiliate programs. One of the questions that I'm asked a lot is like, what are some of the best ways to stay informed about new partner types in the industry or new types of influencers? Where can you find these new partners?
Yeah, this is my agency plug. It's funny because I started brand side and the first company that I was at was kind of agency averse. So it's a little bit ironic that here I am, but there are great things that agencies can bring to the table. And I think their access to data across all of the brands that they support is incredibly powerful. And so we have built a platform that we call Lift, and there's a lot of different capabilities on Lift, but one of them is a gap analysis. So we can look at one brand and see all of the partners that are engaged with them, what % of their overall revenue is being driven by each partner. And we can compare that to as many different brands as we want. And we can see where either a brand isn't working with a specific partner or they're under indexed. So it shows us if there's an opportunity to potentially optimize that partnership even more. And what's great about it is it calculates like a directional revenue opportunity. Obviously, it's not something that is super, super accurate and that we can hang our hat on. But if we know that directionally one partner has an opportunity to drive more volume or revenue than another one, it helps us prioritize how we want to go about reaching out and engaging with the right partners. The other part of what's valuable at agencies is that we support a ton of brands. And so, as I mentioned earlier, some of these publishers that are, they don't have a ton of human power on their team. It's more efficient for them just to reach out to us first. And so I think anytime they have anything new, they want to get it in front of the agencies first. And a lot of the publishers actually have people that are dedicated just to engaging with agencies because they understand how big their reach can be by just tapping into a select few contacts instead of having to have one-to-one conversations for every single brand that they want to engage with. But outside of my 2 agency plugs, there's definitely other ways that you can find about new partners and new capabilities with partners. The platforms put out newsletters that highlight a lot of these. And so publishers definitely want to work with them as they also have the capability to reach more brands. So I always recommend subscribing to those. There's conferences that a lot of these publishers will invest into going to. So it's great to just connect with them in real life. I also find that like actually sitting together with somebody is more meaningful. And I have literally seen better results after having a conversation in person than even just, a Zoom meeting or a phone call. So I think those can be really meaningful. A plug for the MarTech record too. I think that platform is just fantastic for sharing with people in our industry. And it's a pretty big audience at this point. So oftentimes people are asking like, has anybody worked with this person in the past? Or Do you have a good contact here? So that can be helpful. Page one SERPs are pretty much like all the hype, I think, these days. So when you put yourself in the shoes of your potential customer, like if I'm looking for a dress for the summer, I might type into Google best places to buy a dress or best new dress styles for 2023. Every single article on page one organic search results is very likely going to be an affiliate partner. So that's a great way to identify not only partners that you're not working with today, but if you are working with them and your product's not there, your brand's not there, getting it in the article is great. And then obviously, like the higher up in the article that you can get it, the better it's going to perform. And then there's also some third-party tools, Publisher Discovery being one of them. You can use SEMrush for stuff. Even Google Trends sometimes can help with sourcing partners. Yeah, I don't know if there's any others that you've heard of, Lori, that you think would be helpful for everyone on the call to know.
Yeah, there's a lot of places that you can, obviously with your list here, there's a lot of places that you can look to for new partners. Obviously I'm on board that agencies can really help scale a program because a lot of times you guys already have the relationships and, have obviously extended teams that kind of can look into all those different sources. At Everflow, we also have a curated publisher marketplace, and that can be a great place for brands and both brands and agencies to search for partners that are fit for the brand's program. And it's pretty easy to search that directory and reach out to the partner. Yeah, and I also agree. Like, I feel like a lot of times you can also identify articles and content that's already existing that are sending you traffic, and you can reach out to them as well and see if they might become a partner.
Yeah, it's funny because people sometimes ask me, like, why would I pay them a commission if my product's already in that article? But I think when you think about the long-term relationship and working together, if you can show a publication the value of working together on a CPA basis and show them that they can actually drive meaningful revenue for their business, they will think of you next time an article comes up, and you'll be top of mind, as opposed to like any of your competitors who might not be willing to make that investment. So I think there is really like long tail value in engaging with every publication out there through this channel.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think rewarding partners is really important. And sort of as you look at all these types of partners, what have you found are some of the best ways to communicate with them? Communicate with these partners. We talked about incentivizing them, but how do you motivate some of these partners to act and become your partner or join your brand's partner program?
Yeah, I mean, not to be like a broken record, but I think data is just so important in these conversations. And at the top of this slide, like there's kind of your standard metrics that everybody kind of knows and that publishers have visibility into, right? But down below are what we call full funnel metrics. And these are metrics that give more visibility into the true impact that each partner is making. So looking at new versus existing customer rates, new traffic, especially if you're a subscription business, but not just if you're a subscription business, like having an idea of the LTV that's being driven by the customers by partner. That's where I always recommend starting the conversation. And publishers don't always have all of the data at their fingertips. And so they don't know how you're thinking about it. And they don't know how you're, what they can do to improve some of these metrics, for example, and how that can really drive the strategy. The thing that I mentioned earlier about like how we're rewarding partners is, if you think about a very simplistic view of what happens when you try to expand into full funnel partnerships, is let's say you get your product featured in an InStyle article, for example. We'll often see upwards of 90, 95% new traffic being driven by these types of inclusions for brands. But again, when you're working in a way that you have, coupon partners, or especially like toolbar partners that are very, very far down at the bottom of the funnel, a lot of times people are going to click on that toolbar. They want to get the best deal. Who can blame them? I mean, I'm the same way. But in that scenario, the content partner never really gets credit, and they never really see that people are interested in the brands that they're featuring in the articles. So even if you think about just a simplistic view of switching to like first click attributed revenue, this is where you'll start to see these content partners understand their conversion rates and that they're making more money, higher earnings per click out on some of their content. And it's not just a purely capitalistic reason why they do this. They understand that if they're making more money from a brand they're featuring, it's because their audience really likes it, and so editors want to be providing recommendations to people that resonate and that people are interested in. So I think for them, it just shows the true value. And so being able to have a conversation with a publisher and say, like, I'm doing things differently. I'm going to make sure that you're rewarded in these types of scenarios. That's a really great starting point for building a more robust strategy together.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's really important to, examine your commissioning structures and make sure you're rewarding those content publishers that are at the top of the funnel. For not only just conversions, but you might want to even consider, rewarding them for having someone sign up for the newsletter, or maybe they're visiting the product page. You want to make sure that they are getting rewarded for sending traffic your way and new customers, so that they'll continue to do so. So completely agree that that's really important.
Yeah, I think whenever you think about like all these different things that you can do and ways that you can reward based on different actions, it's just always important to think about like, what can the publisher do with that? You don't want to put something into place that's overly complicated that results in them not being able to do anything about it, unless it's purely an efficiency play for you on your spend. But I always recommend coming up with something that, like, when you put it in front of the publisher, they go, okay, well, now I'm going to do this because of that. You want it to have an effect.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you have an impact. And I think one of the most, you're talking a lot about data. I think that, top of everyone's mind, we're all data driven here, is, what are some ways that you kind of measure the success of expanding your partners in your program?
Yeah, I actually have a few very specific data views that I wanted to share. And anybody can build these themselves. They're views that we've built into Lyft because we want more automation and being able to access KPIs like this that are more full funnel. So this one, for example, is a trending chart of new traffic being driven for the affiliate program over time. And we're looking at it by month here. I recommend by month, but you could even do by quarter. So on the left axis, which is the pink bars, are the total new traffic being driven. But on the right axis is the percentage of new traffic, because yes, it's great if you're driving more new traffic, but if you're also driving more return traffic and the ratio is the same, you're not really effectively moving the needle. So these are views that we think give more insight into, outside of just revenue being driven, what that full funnel value looks like. The other one that we like to look at is effective new CAC. So a lot of times people are looking at their CAC or ROAS, whatever KPI you use, efficiency, more at just an overall level of acquiring customers. But looking at new customers acquired by partner and how much that costs is really helpful. This one is comparing the attribution models. So earlier on the influencer slide where I had like 146% more first click attributed revenue versus last click. Typically, when you're looking at different attribution models with a traditional affiliate program, you're going to see like this much last click attributed revenue and like this much first click attributed revenue. That's what I have seen consistently all the time when we audits of programs. So the goal when you're toward building a more full approach to your program is to lift those metrics. So you're bringing the first click attributed revenue up, or whatever, if you want to use any other attribution model, 7-day decay, there's like a million out there. Whatever you think your North Star is, like trying to get them to be closer is really valuable.
And then, are you seeing a lot of brands kind of moving towards that first click attribution model, or?
No, I wouldn't say like they're moving toward it. I think that first click attribution is like the most extreme of a definition of incrementality, right? If you really believe that only the first click is incremental in conversion, that's pretty extreme. Like, I think all of us as marketers believe that there is value for every click along the path. It's a matter of how much value is there. So it's definitely not to say that people are adopting that as like what they think is the right way to think about attribution. It's just that if we can close the gaps a little bit, then we're showing health of the full funnel strategy. It's definitely, I wouldn't want anybody to think that that is the right way to think about how much credit deserves to be given to all of your marketing efforts.
That makes a lot of sense. And I know you talked a lot about cross-channel attribution as well, and kind of looking at that within the affiliate context.
Yeah, this view I think is really helpful, especially when you're having conversations with the senior leaders within your organization. Sometimes what affiliate gets blamed for is like all of the other marketing efforts are getting credited to affiliate. And so like we're getting the benefit of other channels. When you start to move toward a full funnel approach, the opposite starts to happen, right? So these partners that you're working with that are introducing your brand to new audiences, all of a sudden might be converting through other channels. And so just doing a simple VLOOKUP of the OIDs that are getting credited to the channels or the partners in your affiliate program versus where is that attribution going in your source of truth, in this case, Google Analytics, is really interesting. So for one of the brands that we work with, we did this analysis and the credit was going to paid search, which is very likely branded paid search, and display, which is very likely retargeting display, email, because new traffic, when they come to your website for the first time, they want to sign up for the email because they know they're probably going to get a deal, which is obviously not always the case. But I think consumers and online shoppers are sort of trained that that's frequent. And then, SMS, again, just that email sign up, and it's typically followed with an SMS message. So it's just important to understand like where are these purchases happening, but it's actually going to a different channel.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've focused a lot on at Everflow is cross-channel tracking. So through the Everflow platform, you can see both your organic and paid channels, and I think it gives especially if you're an affiliate manager or partnership manager, can give you greater insights into your overall marketing performance, and actually allow you to have more insightful conversations with your leadership team as you kind of look across that full funnel, as you call it, in your tracking. So I think that's really important too. But definitely measurement is a huge piece. It definitely helps you tell a story. Kind of as we kind of as you look ahead, what are some of the most exciting areas of growth that you're seeing when it comes to affiliate partnerships?
I think what I've always loved about this industry is like there's always something new. There's always a new publisher coming up. There's always new capabilities. It's fun to always explore new things that are out there. I do think right now there is a moment where publishers are really expanding their capabilities and they're able to tap into different tools that are more efficient to do that in a much faster way. So speed to market is also really cool to me right now. Just being able to turn things around so much quicker than we used to. I mean, many years ago, it was, having to have that in-person conversation and then having a follow-up call and just like, how can we build something together? And now it's like much more turnkey and much more quick to get things done. So although this is a relationship channel that does take time, I think we're seeing that amount of time becomes not as much. So that's really cool to me.
Yeah, I know it's exciting to see all the investment in publishers and publisher technology, as well as all the new types of partners that are entering the affiliate space. You have podcasters, influencers. The NCAA athletes I know became influencers last year. Brand-to-brand partnerships. I've even seen direct mail be used as an affiliate. TikTok is obviously investing in the space. So it just seems that there's a lot of new partners that are coming to the forefront as the affiliate space evolves, which is really exciting.
Yeah.
So as we wrap things up, I think it'd be great if you could share with the audience, what's next for New Engine. It sounds like there's a lot of exciting developments going on these days. So would love to hear your take.
Yeah. I mean, as I mentioned in the very beginning, there's a lot of alignment between, LT Partners and New Engine. And so we think about strategy very similarly. We think about transparency very similarly. I think that's, again, coming from the brand side, something that I've heard be difficult with agencies. So just being really open about what's going on is something that we have a ton of alignment on. Data and the way that we think about data and attribution is, again, very cohesive, and just the values and culture fit is really perfect. So I'm personally very excited for a couple of different pieces. One, I mentioned Lift, the platform that we've built. We do license it out to brands who run their programs in-house. And what I'm super excited about for within the partnership space is we've just launched it as an actual CRM, where you can see, if you see there's an opportunity through the gap analysis view to work with a certain partner, you can actually like click on that partner, find all the details about them, see all of the contacts. Our agency team scores those contacts, so like what the likelihood is that they're the right contact to reach out to. And then you can actually like email them within the platform and get in front of them. So I'm excited for that capability. But then also in the years to come, we'll be building out more cross-channel views in Lyft, where data that is something that we have to access in a more manual way today will be automated through the platform. So like, for example, those SEO articles, like we want to know what the top keywords are through either non-branded paid search or SEO. And we typically have those conversations with those teams internally. But if we could just automate it being piped over into the affiliate side of the platform, it again just creates efficiencies. And that's our goal. Like we want to create the automation where we can so that we can spend our time doing the things that are most meaningful for moving the needle for the business. And then solution expansion. Now that we're part of the New Engine family, we're doing things like taking influencer work to the next level, working together with their team to take that content that's created by those influencer partners, tap into the creative teams to stretch it and iterate on it for the right platforms, and then working with the paid media teams to put that out through their paid media efforts. Because we're seeing a lot of times with, especially like content, sorry, my dog is going crazy. I don't know if you can hear that.
I told my dog to be quiet on this, so they're not working now.
It's work from home life.
Yes.
But basically, like what we see is that if you distribute really high quality content or influencer validation of your products or your brand through paid media, even paying that CPA to the partner plus the paid media costs ends up being a better return on your investment than a lot of the other, prospecting paid social efforts that you might be doing. So I'm excited to continue to build on expanding our solutions and our offerings with the New Engine team in a more holistic way that can really tap into that agency of record value.
Yeah, it just seems like you have lot of great developments when it comes to technology and kind of leveraging that to, help you be more strategic with all your channels. And then the user-generated content and, combining that with paid placements and CPA is really interesting too. I feel like I'm hearing a lot of that
Yeah.
these days. So a lot of exciting trends to watch out for and a lot of exciting new developments to watch out for at New Engine. But yeah, Lacey, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you to everyone for attending. I think we had some great questions here and some great content. And we'll plan to share the video both on all of our websites and social channels. And if you want to reach out to Lacey, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
At Lacey at lt.partners for now, probably changing that email address in the future. But on our website, obviously, there's a bunch of different ways to get in touch with us.
Great. Well, thanks so much, everyone.